Is kayak fishing dangerous? Well, honestly, yeah. It can be. So in this video, I want to walk you through the 16 kayak fishing mistakes that can absolutely put your life at risk, and more importantly, how to avoid becoming a statistic. Number 1, capsizing without a plan. Here's the reality. If you kayak fish long enough, eventually you're going swimming. Now, I personally haven't gone swimming yet, but I have come real close multiple times. And it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. But flipping your kayak without a re-entry plan, that's where things get dangerous. You need to know how to get back into your kayak, not some random kayak you watched on a YouTube video, your specific kayak. Practice before you panic. I literally saw my buddy go into Lake Erie. It was a hot day, there was warm water, so no big deal. But if that water temp was in the 50s instead of the 70s, different conversation. Number 2, not respecting moving water. Moving water is insanely powerful, way more powerful than most people realize, because we usually judge danger by how something looks. But water doesn't need to look violent to be deadly, right? Just 6 inches of moving water can knock an adult off their feet. Around 12 inches can move a small car, and 2 feet of moving water can literally carry away a truck or SUV. Think about that for a second, right? A fully loaded pickup truck weighs 4,000 to 6,000 pounds. Now imagine what that same current can do to a 90-pound fishing kayak when you're sitting on top of it. And the scary part is, current compounds fast. You hit a sweeper, your kayak turns sideways, current grabs the hull. Now your body weight, your gear weight, and the force of the water all working against you at once. And that's why experienced river anglers respect current so much. Because once moving water takes control, you don't muscle your way out of it, right? You survive it by making smart decisions before you get into trouble. Number 3, underestimating water temperature. This one kills people every year. And here's the scary part, right? That air temp can feel perfect, while the water temp is cold enough to completely wreck your body. You gotta understand that water removes heat from your body around 25 times faster than air. Now think about that for a second. You can be standing at a launch, sweating in a hoodie, then hit cold water and be fighting for your life just minutes later. Once your core body temperature drops below 95 degrees, hypothermia starts setting in. And when that happens, things go downhill fast, right? Confusion, loss of coordination, poor decision making, exhaustion, eventually unconsciousness. And this is where a lot of anglers get it wrong. They think hypothermia only happens in freezing water, but 50-degree water can absolutely become life-threatening, especially if you're not dressed properly and can't get back into your kayak quickly. And the scariest part, a lot of people don't even realize how bad things are getting until their body physically stops cooperating. Number 4, now separate from hypothermia, you have cold shock. And honestly, this gets a lot of people because cold shock happens fast. You unexpectedly hit freezing cold water and your body instantly goes into survival mode. Your chest tightens, your breathing spikes, your heart rate jumps. Then comes the gasp reflex, that involuntary when cold water hits your face and chest. Now imagine that happening underwater. And that's why some people drown within the first minute of immersion, not because they couldn't swim, but because their body automatically reacted before they can make a decision. This is why cold water prep matters so much. Wear your PFD, dress for the water temp, not the air temp, and practice self-rescue before you ever need it. Number 5, fishing alone without a float plan. Now, fishing solo can be peaceful, quiet, therapeutic. I'm doing it right now, right? But it also comes with a real risk, because when something goes wrong, no one's there to help. And this is why you need a float plan, even if it's just a quick fishing trip. A float plan can be as simple as telling someone where you're going, what time you're launching, and when you expect to be back. I do this every time I go out solo. I tell my wife what lake I'm heading to, what river I'm gonna be on, and what time I plan on being home. And honestly, today is easier than ever because all of our phones have built-in share my location features. Within seconds, you can tell your spouse, your family, close friends, they can know exactly where you are if something goes wrong. Now, we actually go much deeper into this inside of KFAST, Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training. Chad Hoover and myself developed this to help kayak anglers stay safer on the water, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this video. But always remember, self-service isn't always reliable on the water, so checking in before your launch matters. Number 6, only checking for rain instead of wind, right? Most anglers check the weather and like, cool, no rain, I'm going fishing. Meanwhile, the wind is about to absolutely body them. Wind is one of the biggest dangers in kayak fishing, right? At 10 to 15 miles per hour, things start getting really sporty really quick. You burn energy faster, your boat control gets harder, white caps start building, and suddenly that easy paddle back turns into survival cardio. I've literally cut anchor ropes before because the conditions changed so fast and my anchors got stuck. And remember this, a tailwind out, it's fun, but a headwind back could put you in a risky situation. Number 7, trusting yesterday's forecast. Weather changes fast, especially around big water. A calm morning can become an absolute nightmare by noon. You got microbursts, you got storm cells, you got wind shifts. So don't rely on the forecast you checked the night before while laying in bed, right? Watch the radar, watch the sky, trust your gut. Now, although I check the weather the night before, the first thing I do in the morning, especially if I'm going to big water, is I check it again. I fish bodies of water like Lake Erie where storms and trouble can build up fast. If it feels wrong, just leave, right? Fish are not worth dying for. Number 8, losing your bearings in fog or darkness, right? Fog in the water is no joke. 1 second you can see the shore, the next second everything looks the same. And on those bigger lakes, that can get dangerous really fast. I don't care how experienced you are, if you lose visibility without navigation tools, it's incredibly easy to become disoriented. There's way more to navigating safely in fog that most anglers realize. Sound signals, boat traffic awareness, navigation lighting, understanding your surroundings before the fog rolls in, and we cover all of that in greater detail inside of KFAST. Number 9, overestimating yourself. This one gets a lot of strong athletic people, right? Because confidence can trick you. You might be in the greatest shape of your life. You're a strong swimmer, experienced angler, cool. But now add 8 hours in the sun, right? Dehydration, fatigue, heavy wind, stress, and suddenly you're not functioning at 100% anymore. And that is when mistakes happen. The water has humbled a lot of people. And honestly, something that I've noticed over the years is that we lose a lot of people in the sport who are younger. Like younger guys in their 20s and 30s, in the prime of their life. Number 10, not planning for gear failure. Stuff breaks, guys, right? Always. Motors are gonna die, pedal drives are gonna fail, batteries are gonna quit, connections could burn out, right? And somehow it never happens right beside the launch, right? It happens 2 miles offshore in the wind with a storm on the horizon. That's why I always say, hope is not a plan. So some of the things you're gonna wanna carry, right? Maybe a backup paddle, basic repair tools, spare pins for your motors, zip ties, charged communication devices, right? Because sometimes one tiny repair is the difference between paddling home and becoming a rescue call. Number 11, getting swept away by currents, right? Currents are no joke. Tides, river flow, and even wind can move you way further and faster than most anglers realize. And the scary part? Sometimes you don't even notice it happening until it's like too late. You think you're just drifting a little while suddenly the shoreline is tiny and your energy is drained. And you're fighting water that's stronger than you are. There have been kayakers literally swept miles offshore because they underestimated current and drift. And once that water starts moving you, it becomes incredibly difficult to fight against it, especially when fatigue and wind and waves and panic start stacking together. The ocean, it doesn't negotiate, right? Current doesn't care how strong you are. Always know the tide, the current, the wind direction, and your bailout plan before you launch. All right, number 12, sun exposure and dehydration, right? The sun on the water, it just hits different. You've got direct sunlight overhead and then the water reflecting it right back at you all day long. And heat exhaustion sneaks up fast. You can get headaches and dizziness and nausea and muscle cramps, right? And the next thing you know, your decision making starts getting sloppy. I'm terrible at this myself, and my wife, rightfully so, gets on me all the time. So bring way more water than you think you need, more food too, because dehydration doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it makes you dangerous to yourself. Number 13, fatigue and poor decision making. After 6, 8, 12 hours on the water, your brain starts getting foggy, right? And this is when really bad decisions, they start to happen. You push through storms, you paddle further than you should, you ignore the warning signs, you skip basic safety steps because you're tired. And fatigue, it compounds everything, right? And the dangerous part is most people don't even realize how mentally exhausted they are until they look back afterwards. So we teach something at KFAST called KILL, KYL, know your limits. There's no shame in calling it early and fishing another day. Number 14, boat traffic and blind spots. One of the scariest realities of kayak fishing, you sit really low to the water. And that bass boat, that pontoon or jet ski flying across the lake may never even see you. especially in waves and low light, boat chop, or sun glare. So you should operate with the mindset that you are invisible until proven otherwise. Use visibility flags, bright colors, 360-degree lights if you're out early or late. You won't catch me fishing early morning or late evening, light, and heavy boat traffic without my Guardian Angel kayak light kit and flag. So make sure you stay seen out there. I even avoid marked boat channels whenever possible. Even experienced boaters can lose sight of a kayak in rough water. So make yourself as visible as humanly possible. Number 15, lightning. If you can hear thunder, you are close enough to get struck. And think about what we surround ourselves, right, on a kayak, right? We got fishing rods, carbon fiber paddles, and metal frames and electronics. You're basically sitting in a lightning storm holding antennas. When you hear thunder, get off the water immediately. Not when it starts raining, not after one more cast, not after if I hear thunder one more time. Now, because lightning can strike miles ahead of a storm and kayakers have almost zero protection once things go bad. The next one, slips and falls at the launch. Not every serious kayak injury happens out on the water. Sometimes it happens before you even make your first cast. Boat ramps, they get slick. Kayaks are heavy. People rush, right? And all it takes is one bad fall, you're heading to the hospital, and you're out for the season. I actually had someone comment recently that the local doctor slipped on a slimy boat ramp, hit his head, and drowned in just a couple inches of water. That is tragic and completely preventable. So wear proper footwear, stay away from Crocs, slow down, take your time around those wet surfaces, and don't launch rushed. Now here's the reality, right? Most kayak fishing accidents, they don't happen because of one massive mistake, right? It's usually multiple smaller mistakes stacking together. We call this the Swiss cheese effect, right? If you have fatigue by itself, you're usually gonna be fine, right? If it's just some wind, usually gonna be fine. But it's when you have fatigue and cold water and wind and poor planning and overconfidence, when those all stack together, that's how situations spiral. And that is exactly why we created KFAST, Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training. This is a program developed by Chad Hoover and myself, and we developed this because kayak fishing has exploded in popularity. But most anglers never receive any real safety training. They buy a kayak, they watch a few YouTube videos, and they head straight into conditions they may not fully understand. KFAST was built to help change that. Our basic certification covers things like cold water safety, weather and wind awareness, self-rescue, float plans, visibility, risk management, emergency preparedness, and more, all built specifically for kayak anglers through real-world instruction and practical safety training. Because knowledge matters, preparation matters, and both of those things can save lives. So get trained, fish smarter, and live to fish another day. I intentionally left out the #1 kayak fishing mistake that can end your life. So if you think you know what that is, drop it down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you out in the water.